Let's take a deep breath, because the last two lessons have been quite long and intense. In a nutshell, we learned about the basic tenet of statistics, getting population insights from sample analysis. We saw that a sample is basically a small subset randomly drawn from our entire population dataset. And by looking at the histograms of these samples, we saw that they were both different from the population, but also each sample set is different from the other. Now, in this short lesson, we will make this visual observation more quantifiable by computing some basic statistics for both the population and different samples. So let's get into the slides and see how this is done. The basic statistics that we will compute are the mean, the variance, and the median. And I presume that you're already very familiar with these statistics, but let me nonetheless go over them very briefly. The mean or average of our dataset is also sometimes called the expected value, because if there were a data point randomly drawn from our dataset and you'd have to guess the value of this data point, or to get as close as possible, then your best bet is to always choose the average or the mean. And that's why it's also called the expectation value, because that's the value that you most likely expect from such a random drawing. The variance or the spread of our dataset is a measure for how clustered around the mean our data falls. It can be either very broad or it can be very peaked. Now, as a note, the variance is the square of the standard deviation, and they can just be used interchangeably. Now, the median of our dataset is the middle data point, because 50% will be larger than the median and 50% will be smaller than this middle data point. In perfectly symmetric datasets, the mean and the median will be identical to each other, and this will not be the case if our dataset is skewed to one side or another. Now, each of these basic statistics have a mathematical formula to calculate it, but in this course we don't go into the mathematics. Fortunately, Python allows us to easily compute these basic statistics no matter how large the dataset. Now, what we will do in this short lesson is, in essence, reproduce this table. And in this table we compute the mean, variance, and median as the rows for each of these four datasets: population 1, a sample of this population, population 2, and a sample of this population 2. And this can be done quite easily, so let's get into the code and do this. And let us start with computing these basic statistics for our populations, and in particular, the populations that we defined in previous lessons. Remind yourself that population 1 and 2 were normally distributed populations, each with 100,000 data points, and they differ from each other, that population 1 had a mean of 1 and population 2 was shifted slightly to the right with a mean of 1.5, and their variance or their spread was equal. So let's start with the mean. Now, this can be very easily computed by using pop1, the variable for our population 1, which is a Python array of 100,000 random numbers, and we would simply do .mean. Now we see that this pop1.mean, which is the mean of population 1, is still encapsulated by this other function. Now, why do we want to do this? Because if we compute the mean of population 1, we will get a number with a lot of decimals, and at some point these decimals don't make any sense anymore. That's why we want to round this number to just 3 decimals. And that's exactly what this numpy.round does. We do numpy.round, we give it a number, and then we give the number of decimals that we want to round this to, in this case 3. And of course we can do exactly the same for population 2, which we store in the variable pop2mean. Now, as you can see, in the line below, line 7, I made a print statement where I print population 1 and population 2. But because in this cell I really want to compare them, it's easier to collect all of the computed statistics that we will still calculate in later lines and compound them all into one table to make it more easy to compare them. So we can leave this line uncommented. The next basic statistic that we want to compute is the variance of our population, and this can be done very similarly. So we again have pop1.var in this case for the variance. And again, we use numpy.round to round this to 3 decimals. And the same can be done for population 2. And the last basic statistic that we want to compute for our populations is the median, or the middle value, if we were to order our dataset from small to large. And the way we do so is slightly different. Here we start with numpy.median and give our population array as a value. And then, of course, the same way as before, we round this number to 3 decimals. And thus we get population 1 median and population 2 median. And in this way, we already computed these basic statistics for a dataset with 100,000 data points. And now we will do the same for our samples. But first, of course, we have to create our samples. And we can do so in the same way that we did before, namely just picking out a random number of numbers of our original population. In this case, we take n sample to be 20 instead of 40 in the last lesson. And then we just define sample1, which will be a Python array, as numpy.random.choice. We choose our random numbers from population 1, and we choose the size to be n sample. So we pick 20 random numbers from our population 1 array. And sample 2 is exactly the same, but now of course we pick numbers from population 2. And now that we have our 2 sample arrays, each containing 20 data points, we can compute the same basic statistics in the exact same way as we did for the populations. The means are computed by sample1.mean and then rounding it to 3 decimals, and the same for sample 2. Variance is computed very similarly, and for the median we of course start with numpy.median. We give our sample array as a value, and then we round it to 3 decimals. And this gives us sample 1 median and sample 2 median. And at this point, we have in total 12 numbers or 12 basic statistics, both for our populations and our samples. Now we want to bring them all together into one data frame such that we can visualize it as a table. And to do this, we first create a dictionary called data. Now the keys of this dictionary are the names of the individual data sets. We have population 1, sample 1, population 2, and sample 2. Now the values of the keys are the corresponding basic statistics. And what is important here is that the order of these values is important because it will be the order in our final data frame. So we start with the mean, then the variance, and then the median. And just all for the corresponding data set, which is the key. So here for population 1, we have the population mean, the population 1 variance, and the population 1 median. For sample 1, we have sample 1 mean, sample 1 variance, and sample 1 median. And then to create a data frame from this dictionary, we simply do the following. We define our data frame, df, to be equal to pandas.dataframe. We provide it with our dictionary, the data, and we give it an index, namely mean for the first row, variance for the second row, and median for the third row. And it's important here that this order of mean, variance, median is the same as we put the values in our dictionary, mean, variance, median. Now to display this, we simply type display df.head and we can run this cell. Now the rest of this cell we will cover in the next lesson. Now doing this display, we see that we get a table. And this table is indeed very similar to the one that we had in the slides. The same population, sample 1, sample 2, and the same basic statistics, the mean, the variance, and the median. Now the values of the population statistics are identical, and they are in fact equal to what we set them to when we generated these populations. Remember, for population 1, we set the mean or the location of this distribution equal to 1, where for population 2, we set it to 1.5. And likewise for the variance. Remember that for population 1 and 2, we set the scale or the standard deviation to be equal to 0.5 for both of them. And since the variance is the square of the standard deviation, we have 0.25, which is the square of 0.5. And we also observe that the median for the populations will always be equal to the mean of the corresponding population. 1 for population 1 and 1.5 for population 2. Now what is interesting about this table is that we can compare the sample statistics with the corresponding population statistics. For sample 1, for instance, we see that the mean is larger than the population mean, even 12% larger. We see that the variance is smaller than the population variance, and that the median is also larger than the population median. And the same is true for sample 2. And thus we see that if we take a sample from a population, then the resulting sample statistics will only be an approximation of our population statistics. And that's how we introduce this uncertainty that we talked about in the previous chapter. What you see here basically is a quantitative expression of the sample histograms not being equal to the population histograms, as we saw in the previous lessons. But it goes even further than that. We can use this cell that generates a random sample each time we run it to show that even these samples are different from one another. Each time we take a new sample, so if we run this cell again, we see that the sample statistics of both sample 1 and sample 2, they change, whereas the population statistics, they remain very robustly the same. Now, if we focus our attention on sample 1, then we see that each time that we rerun this cell, our basic statistics are sometimes larger than the corresponding population statistics, and sometimes they are lower. For instance, in this case, the mean of sample 1 is much lower than the mean of population 1. Now, what we can also see, beyond the fact that there is difference between the sample statistics and the population statistics, is that within one sample, there is also a difference in distribution. Namely, remember that for the population, the mean and the median were always equal to each other, reflecting the fact that the populations are perfect normal distributions and thus perfectly symmetrical. But our samples are not symmetrical, which can be seen by the fact that the mean and the median are not equal to each other. And the same is true for sample 2. If we rerun this cell again and again, we see that it's almost never the case that the mean and the median are equal to each other. So not only are the population statistics unknown to us by looking at the samples, because the sample statistics are an approximation for the underlying populations, we also see that some properties of our population distributions remain unknown to us by looking at our samples, for instance, being symmetrical. Now we can solve these problems by taking a larger sample size, which I often say, collecting more data. If we increase the sample size by a factor of 10 to 200 data points instead of 20, and we run this cell again, then we see indeed that if we run this cell again and again, that the sample statistics will be a better approximation of the population statistics. And also, they vary less widely from sample to sample if we keep running this cell over and over again. And this again shows that the best strategy in statistics is always to collect more data. In this lesson, by computing the basic statistics for both population and samples, we clearly showed that a sample is just a random subset from the underlying population. And this random sampling introduces uncertainty, which in later chapters we will learn how to quantify and even overcome. And to conclude this chapter, in the next lesson, we will bring together all of the tools that we learned up till now to make a combination of visual tools and numeric tools to really showcase this difference between sample and population. And doing so, we will bring our simulation game to the next level.